I'm going to start from the basics of where we would build a resource as a maths teacher. I've been a GCSE maths teacher for many years now, and I specialise in GCSE research, so a lot of my examples are coming from that today. But obviously, you know, maths is universal and it can be applied to your setting. Most of the resources we start with, I'm going old school, I'm going to Kesh Maths. Still, you know, the best bank of resources you're ever going to find is Kesh Maths. And I've just grabbed the fractions exam booklet here. So it's just the booklet, same old of the old 1MAO. So if you're a maths teacher, you'll be well familiar with these types of booklets. How do we take this digitally? Normally in class, we would print this PDF off, we would sit, we would answer it, we would tick and flick it, we'd maybe do a bit of verbal feedback and we'd move on. If we start from the very beginning of how do we make this resource accessible to all, and when I say that, I mean we kind of have to push it digitally. Yeah, sure, we can photocopy in different colours, we can do all sorts of different things, but if we make the resource digital from the outset, it then becomes accessible to all. So if we get to this bit here, I've turned my Equatio on and it sits as a Chrome extension at this top bit here, the little rhombus, and it's a rhombus, not diamond. And it opens up your Equatio toolbar at the bottom. I'm going to start really simply with my favourite screenshot reader. So I'm going to turn on the screenshot reader and just drag over this question here. So just click the screenshot reader and whilst holding the mouse, just dragging over that beginning question. It's going to do its thing.
Work out 2/5 plus 1/7.
So amazing, brilliant. Already I've got that narration should I need it if I need help with my reading, but also it's made it slightly bigger. So that might also help me as well if I have personal needs. But as a teacher, what I can do is I can click these three dots here and I can copy the LaTeX, or I can edit with Equatio and I can go in and change this question. Perhaps I want to make a few of these. If I copy the LaTeX from here, and then if I open up a brand new Google Doc and just typing in docs.new, blank Google Doc, completely blank, nothing in here whatsoever, I'm going to put those fractions straight in. I'm going to turn the Equatio on by clicking the Chrome extension there. I'm going to click the Latex Editor and I'm just going to paste that in. So all I did was pick up that screenshot that we read from there, copying the LaTeX into my new Google Doc, into the Latex Editor, pasting it in, and there it is set out perfectly. As a teacher, that would have taken me a significant amount of time to turn fractions on and off to insert into my document. I can then insert that into my document and I can start to build my resources from here. So one of the most easiest things to use is the screenshot reader. It gets it read aloud. It turns these PDFs that we rely on. Let's not forget GCSE is still a PDF, paper-based exam at the end of the year. It turns that into a more accessible, immersive experience and makes that resource digital. So whilst I'm in this new document then, I'm going to go through the Equatio toolbar for you, which sits along the bottom. First thing to say though is you can personalize and customize Equatio as well, and that goes under options. I'm just going to start in here. And in maths options, you can change the font size. I've got it on extra large, just because that makes it easy for me to see it, especially if I'm taking it from this PDF here. It just brings it out larger for me. So I always have it to extra large, and it's worth spending a few times to get these settings up to date with students. Language, English UK, can be changed. You know, if you students and their home language is slightly different and perhaps they're in their infancy of learning English, you can change that to support them. The speech engine, you can change. How do you want it to read aloud to you? What do you want that voice to sound like? And this is one of the most important things that we get asked for a lot. How do I turn off the prediction? You know, how do I turn off, if we were in an English lesson, how would I turn off the underlining to point out that you spelt a word wrong? Well, you can turn off prediction in Equatio as well. So if you wanted to turn that off, you can do that for students as well. And you can customize, is it just for science you want to turn it off? Is it for maths? Or is it the formula you want to turn off? In the toolbar options as well, you can customize that. So perhaps you've got students who might be a bit daunted by too many buttons, you can change that. And then you can adjust the Chrome options for the screenshot reader. So as it just read aloud for me, you can customize those on there. So just a few things that are just worth pointing out in customizing your Equatio experience. The first bit then is the equation editor. Now you'll notice it's kept in that question that we picked up from the PDF from the very beginning. It's still kept that in because it's thinking, are you still wanting to work on this? Well, actually, as a teacher, I might just want to make that question the next question in the worksheet, and I'm just altering the numbers. So I'm not having to retype it. I can just go in and I can just change these numbers, and I can build my task by just changing these numbers, nice and simple, and it's saving it for me. It's keeping it there and active for me. I'm just going to take that out now. On here, we can change the colour of the text as well. You can add to favourites, so anything that you think you regularly type, you can change that as well. And then if you want in anything particular, you can click on it here. But there's a much simpler way. Because I've got prediction turned on, if I start typing in square, it's giving me the option, are you wanting to write a squared, a square root? Are you wanting to do square metre? How are you wanting to make this equation look? And sometimes I just turn the equation editor on if I want it to say meters squared, because I think it looks nicer if I write 15 meters squared. I think it looks nicer than that rather than the superscript, subscript formatting that I can do in Google Docs. So sometimes that's just a little bit easier for me. Down here is your Equatio smiley, and it's saying, I recognise what you're doing, keep going, I know what you're doing. So if you're using it with students, if they're a little bit unsure, this will be saying, yeah, that looks like that might make sense. That looks like that might work. If I want to write anything in, I can start putting quadratic in, and it'll give me the horrendousness of the quadratic formula. If you're not a maths person, it's probably the biggest thing to cause you to have some sort of reaction to put that in. Then you've got the Latex Editor. Now, if you are more familiar with LaTeX, the equation editor is super simple to use. Anyone can use that, in my opinion. The LaTeX Editor is if you've got more experience, you might want to use your LaTeX commands. I know very few. Times is one. I know left arrow, right arrow. Pretty much another project I work on uses LaTeX, so I don't have much knowledge of that, but those are there if you prefer to use the LaTeX editor. You can also activate Desmos Graphs. I don't know about you, but teaching maths, sometimes I actually just need a coordinate plane. Well, there it is. And all I did was click on that and I've got a coordinate plane. Well, that'll start. I can then start building a resource from that. So much time in my career has been lost by students struggling to draw a coordinate plane accurately. So to have one there is amazing and really easy to grab. And you can just type into here your equation that you want and it'll graph it for you. So y equals 2x plus 3, and it graphs it straight away for you. You've also got handwriting recognition, where you can just put a touchscreen device on it and you can start handwriting from there. And it's fairly accurate when it picks it up. Speech input, I'm just going to start on here. Let's start speech input. 3 squared. It's not going to pick it up because I'm in the meeting. It's getting confused with my microphone. So it is very accurate on there. MathSpace will come back to, mobile will come back to shortly, and Screenshot Reader we've already looked at. STEM tools are something that teachers asked for, and Texthelp are amazing at being really responsive. They want to respond to what teachers are saying and create that UX experience for the teachers. And so teachers said, we need a scientific calculator everywhere. I don't disagree. I need a scientific calculator everywhere. So I'm really pleased that that's now available. So you can just switch that on straight away. So even if you're not getting students to do any of the Equatio or equation editor, they can just pull up scientific calculator straight away. If you are a sciencey person, teachers ask for a periodic table, so that's there as well. And also you've got a molecular viewer as well, and I've seen some really crazy things that have been pulled into here, and some crazy pictures that have been done. It's not my area of expertise, I'm GCSE maths, but it's there if you teach that subject. So I promised that I would show you MathSpace, so I'm going to take you into that now. So MathSpace looks and feels like a slides presentation, somewhere where you would create resources, and a collaborative whiteboard. Make no apologies that there are so many collaborative maths whiteboards on the market. Teachers asked and people have developed them. I'm not going to say Equatio is better or worse than other ones, but it has a place where it sits in your toolkit of tools. If you're after a collaborative whiteboard and you've got Equatio, you've got everything under one roof, and the students then become familiar. And I think a lot can be said for that pattern of familiarity for students, rather than diverting from this app to this app to this app. App fatigue is real, Zoom fatigue is real, Google Meet fatigue is real. What can we do to lighten that cognitive load for our students? How can we help them immerse themselves in the learning rather than worry about the different platforms that they're using? So Equatio has collaborative maths whiteboards, as does many other platforms, but it's a really great feature of the product. So I'm just going to open up a new MathSpace, and you'd expect everything on here. You've got like a slide sorter down the side, you've got a little save button, you've got all your usual copy clips and everything in here, and you can import files. So if we took a screenshot of this here, so if I take a screenshot of this question, and if I go into that MathSpace now and I can import the file, I can click to upload and that will pop it in. And there's that question in for me. Not groundbreaking, but really handy to have. But what I do like that a lot of the collaborative maths whiteboards don't have is I can lock that in place. So I can lock that image in place now, and now it can't really be moved or played about with by students when I share it with them. And I can share it with them. I can share my MathSpace. I can make a copy for each student. So perhaps I'm creating a bank of resources rather than making it in Google Docs and making a copy for each student in Google Classroom. I can do it straight from MathSpace. And then again, thinking about that familiarity for students, that ease of knowledge for them, that lightening of the cognitive load, that everything is in one place, we can share straight from the MathSpace. We can make a copy for each person, and we can make a copy for each person, expect a response. It's my favourite thing. I think we always expect a response by students, whether they do or not, I'm not quite sure sometimes, but we can expect a response, and it works as an assignment system in there as well. Really powerful features in MathSpace. You've also got other things on here where you can have the maths read aloud. Again, thinking accessibility from the outset, from the creation of the resources. You can also infinitely clone something. So something that I like to do is, if I am teaching manipulatives, I might open up, some coins here, pop them in. I might then just pick, I'm just going to ungroup that. I'm just going to ungroup that, and I'm just going to pick that one. If I infinitely clone that, I can just copy that and paste that over and over and over again, and then I've got loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of those coins stuck all together on there. Oh, it's not working. Hang on, let me try that again. There it is. And I've got loads and loads and loads of those coins, so we can really get interactive and we can really start using. Those coins, again, were a teacher requested feature on Equatio. Teachers asked, they said, we really want to be able to use coins. We want them to be UK based. We don't want them to be American based. And Equatio responded and they built those. So if there's something that you're thinking, I wish it could do this, reach out to them. They're a really friendly bunch, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to take a look. I annoy them quite frequently with my ideas that I think Equatio should be able to do. And RegQ, I do it for all the products. So you'll notice now we've come into MathSpace, we've got more features on here. So we touched on these ones along here, so they're still there. You've got the Latex Editor, so again, I'll show off that my skills. I can do a time sign in Latex now. You've got my Equatio Editor in here, so if I put in a fraction, and it'll start to put in the fraction line for me, and then I can build my fraction from there. Makes it really simple. Got the graphing again, handwriting recognition again, which we will come back to, speech input, mobile, but now we've got a few more options on here because obviously we can select things on the page that we can move about. We've got freehand drawing, so if we're wanting to sketch something, perhaps we're doing plans and elevations and we want to sketch and teach the students how to sketch, we're able to do that as well. Shapes have now come on board, and I showed you where to find the coins and they were under here. You've also got base 10 blocks. You know, who doesn't love a base 10 block? So useful for teaching all sorts of things. Most of these have been teacher requested, they've been added in as well. You've got all sorts of shapes. I mean, how handy is that? As a maths teacher, the amount of time you can lose in a lesson being able to accurately draw the net of a cylinder, it's there and you can quickly grab it and show them. But you've got your traditional shapes that you can just drop in, but it's got tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of things in there. I know the physics people absolutely love the pulleys and the gears because you can make them work. Slightly jealous that they can do that, and as a maths teacher we can't. And then we've got the fraction circles as well. I know if I was teaching fractions and I was drawing, I would do it as a bar because it's easier for me to draw, but actually visually representing it, the fraction circles are easier as well. So all of those sit in here. But I'm just going to get even more excited, and this is the smart shapes. So that was the shapes. This is the smart shapes. So the smart shapes are slightly different in that you can pop it in and it'll tell you what the angle is, and you can adjust it and play about with it as well. So super, super useful. And remember as well, every maths teacher needs a scientific calculator to hand, so one sits there too. Gonna dive in now to handwriting then. Kept you waiting long enough. It's merely for embarrassment of how hard I find it to do my handwriting on here. Oh, and I've got my tablet the wrong way around, so that's an excellent start. Let's try that. Oh, and my tablet's been covered in yogurt by my child, so that is even better. So if I just write in here 3x, it's not going to pick it up because I had a little gap. Let's go again. Oh, it's not liking me. There we go. There we go. It's got the 3x in the end. What we can do with the handwriting, it works much better on a mobile phone. I will jump on my mobile phone shortly, but if we just pop on here, you can see it's got the arrow. It's trying to think 3r and then it's 4. It's picked up that that 4 should be a fraction. That's how intelligent it is. It's such a great handwriting recognition. Like I say, there are so many collaborative whiteboards, interactive maths whiteboards on the market. I make no apologies that there's so many, and I work with lots of them. It's because teachers are wanting to innovate. Teachers are wanting to try new things. There we go. We got there in the end, 3x plus 2. So the handwriting recognition is super. You can, I would like to say I've written so awfully on my tablet on purpose. I haven't. It's because it's covered in yogurt and it's not picking up where I need to write. Is currently covered in yogurt. So that's why it's not picking it up properly. And also I'm not very good at handwriting, but if I can do it, anyone can do it. Once you've got that, then you can insert that into the document. But this is where Equatio steps into its own here. I can then edit the maths on it. So once I've put it in as an image, it's not there as, it is there as a static image, and I can pick it up, moving about, all that. But I can then go edit maths, and I can come back in here and I can change it and I can replace that maths. But actually, if I'm making resources, I could then copy this. I could then paste it over here, then come into edit maths, and I could change it this time to 5 and replace maths. So again, making it accessible from the beginning. And when I say that, I mean all the things of accessibility for additional learning needs, but I also mean web-based and easy for any student to engage with. So a little bit of the handwriting tool for you there. Now we're going to get into the mobile features. So just in case it might die, just because I don't have any fancy kit here, I am just using my own mobile phone. I have prepared something. So Gus, if you could drop in the chat the link that I shared with you for this document that I'm sharing now.
Sure, here we go.
Thank you.
Yep.
So this document here then is a Google Doc. You can appreciate that. Just sharing it with you so that you've got it to hand, so you can see that there's nothing fancy happening on here. This is a screenshot. Again, of my favourite, the Kesh maths books, the really old 1MAO books that are still really good for us now. I've screenshot that into the Google Doc, and then I've written the answer here. And you can see it's done something. I worked it out on pen and paper, and it has typed in that for me, and this is what my paper looked like. And I wanted you to see how my pi sign's not great. It's neat, but it's not the neatest writing you're ever going to see in your life. And it's still managed to turn it into beautiful maths for me. And some teachers say, oh, it can't read their handwriting. Oh, it doesn't read their writing. Oh, they need to do this, they need to do that. I counter that and I say, if Equatio Mobile can't read their handwriting, then an examiner won't be able to read their handwriting. So if Equatio Mobile isn't picking it up correctly, they need to neaten up. Because let's not forget, again, it's a paper-based GCSE exam. It's a paper-based SATs exam. It's a paper-based exam in maths. That's how we assess. So we need to promote that neat writing skills for students. And then it's nice that it turns it into this maths here, but where it comes into its own, and I don't know that anything else can do this. If I just flick my Equatio on, there's the image of that maths. It's recognising that it's at maths. If I click edit, if it doesn't pick it up exactly right and you need to change a digit, you can change a digit. And, you know, I don't know, I think this is where Equatio comes into its own for me with this mobile feature. It promotes high standards. It promotes self-directed work, and it promotes students to actually get on with things and to actually, you know, take responsibility for that work, that self-efficacy. And also, if you've got younger students, it's that awe and amazement that something they've written on pen and paper can be transformed into a digital image that can then be edited. I'm hoping that that would promote some sort of discussion of how did it do that? What can we, how did it do that? Wow, that's amazing. If we can promote that as well, then we're doing our job as a teacher. We're not just teaching them maths, we're teaching them life skills of how can we engage in society better? Well, we can invent things, we can engage with technology, and we can create new things. And we can be inspiring this generation to start looking at this and think, well, that's pretty cool, but imagine if it did this. And that's when I get excited, is when students come to me and go, I love Equatio, but imagine if it could do this. I will then go and nag the Equatio team at Texthelp to get them to do it, but knowing as well that I've inspired that student, that they will then be able to take up this fight when they're older too. So Equatio Mobile in its simplest form then, that's a pre-prepared set for you, but I didn't want you to, you know, doubt my skills or doubt Equatio, so I thought we could have a little go at it live as well. So again, I've just cut and pasted this from a Kesh maths book. Make no apologies for that. Those are my resources that I use. What I do then is I open up the Equatio Toolbar and I go Equatio Mobile at the bottom. I scan that QR code on my phone, and then it then links to me the active document. So at the minute it's telling me that it's got Equatio Demo Circles open, which is the doc that's been shared with you. It's telling me 36 Circles is open, which is the booklet that I've copied from. It's telling me the Untitled document is open, where I copied that fraction at the beginning, and it's telling me the math space is open, because that's where I was last in as well. It's not telling me Google Meet is open because it's not telling me that there's any maths in there. So I'm just going to go into the Equatio algebra document that's got on the screen now. I'm just going to close that down, and I'm just going to turn on the camera in Equatio on my phone. So it's just showing me now a camera. It's just going to take a picture of my work, and I'm just going to take a picture of my work. It's found my work, and I'm just going to send it in as maths into that document, and you should now see that appear, and there's my handwritten answer. And if I go back again, and I'll just, for clarity, I'll pop it in as an image of what I've just shown you. That's my handwritten work there. I'm just going to pop it in for you. And you've seen this happen live. This is, you know, yeah, I got the handwritten bit ready just so I didn't have to do the brain work of, you know, changing the subject while we were on the call. That's what I wrote. That's what it picked up. Now, if students are going to be saying to me, oh, my writing's not as neat as that, oh, I'm not as neat as that, well, neaten up. An examiner needs to see it as neat as this. I also examine for GCSE. There is nothing more frustrating as an examiner for GCSE when you can't read students' work. Nothing more frustrating. And it's a skill that we need to teach as well. This paper-based handwritten maths still exists, and we need to promote that too. So you can see that's what I wrote, and that's how it went into the document. Live, it was as quick and as easy as that, and all it took was my mobile phone for me to engage with that. So there's no fancy kit required for students, and that touchscreen handwriting on maths again, you can do that on your mobile phone as well. So that was Equatio Mobile for you. I just want to go back into MathSpace, and I'm just going to open up a MathSpace that I got ready for today as well. So what I've done here in this MathSpace was that I cut and paste the question in from, again, a Cash Maths booklet, and this time it was on transformations. And I just wanted to show the difference of the drawing tools. So I used Freehand Drawing here to draw these lines in, for drawing the ray lines for the enlargement. Really key skill that we need to practice. This was freehand, obviously no ruler, obviously using my tablet and my stylus, so it's not going to be the neatest, but you can see it's done what it's needed to do, and we can focus then on the center of the enlargement and start to begin answering that question. I then wanted to have a little play with the shape, and that's the line tool that I've input there. So I've input the line tool in for the mirror line for reflection, and then I've freehand drawn using the pen to put in the reflected shape for A dash for the image. And then this time, this one, what I've done is actually I've cloned this part of the image. So I've cloned the A part of the image, and then I can then practice the rotations. And I think we get so blinded by the complexities of maths and the complexities of tools. Actually, if we've got a student who doesn't have a grasp on rotations, teaching them, right, it starts this way around in its orientation, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, original orientation. You've got rotational symmetry covered in that, you've got rotations, and you're developing that concept for students. Equatio allows you to develop that conceptual understanding. This is something that would take absolutely ages to replicate in the classroom. And if it's not a transformations lesson and it's a revision lesson and you've not got tracing paper, you've not got pencils out, and some students don't need this, how do you give that student that time that they need to play about and investigate with this? Well, pop it in a MathSpace and they can sit and play and think, oh, actually, it's not 90 anti-clockwise because that would be over there. And they'll build those connections themselves. This one, it looks a bit messy, but I wanted to enlarge B. So again, I use the line tool here. So I use the line as the shapes to pop in the ray lines from the center of the enlargement. I then use the freehand tool to count the jumps. And you can see I've just counted the jumps of how far the shape needs to go. So the shape here was 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps tall, and it's a scale factor 3, so it needs to be 3 times 3 is 9, 9 jumps tall, 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 jump, 4 jump, 5 jump. It allows students, however they learn, there's no proper way to learn maths. I think we can all agree on that. But sometimes with platforms that we choose, it requires students to learn in a proper way. Equatio doesn't. It covers all bases. It's got that handwritten element. It's got that freehand drawing. It's got lines to neaten up. And it's just covering so much ground on it. And then the final thing for me was I just thought I'd show you simultaneous equations. So simultaneous equations can be a nightmare. To teach and to show how to neaten up work, how to set work out, and all those sorts of things. I cut and paste the question in, and then this is Equatio Mobile. And I've got the handwriting here. So I've got the handwriting here, and I just wanted to scan in for you now on Equatio Mobile, the handwriting of that, so you can make a comparison of what it is that we've got. Hang on, it's just trying to update itself. There we go. So I'm just going to take a picture of that now. So I'm just going to take that picture. Oh, it's just cut the top off. Hang on. Pop that in. I'm just going to pop that in as an image. You should see that coming on now. Let's try again. Oh, there it is. So you can see that's my handwritten. And I've even done my 1s in my curly circles and my 2 in my curly circles. And then I've done equation 1 multiplied by 4, equation 2 multiplied by 3. And it's picked that up. That differential in how I've made my notation for simultaneous equations, it's clever enough to go, yeah, this isn't part of what she's doing. And we're going to keep those circles. We're going to keep those numbers bounded. And I forgot to put it on that 4. So I can go into here and I can edit that maths. And I can just come down in here. And I can put those brackets on, and I can think as a student, you know what? I nearly made a mistake there. I nearly didn't set my work out right. And then I can hand it into my teacher and say, that's fully corrected and I've updated it. One final thing for me before we finish is just the handwriting recognition. I'm just going to connect to it on my phone and just show you how this looks on my phone. Oh, that's my door, sorry. If I pop that in, that was me on my phone, and that's now popping in for you as an image. It's coming, it's coming, it's doing it, it is doing it. The joys of doing it live, that's why I got so much ready for today. But you can insert maths from your mobile phone, using your fingertip drawing, just allowing students to have that ability to access maths, making it accessible. And when I say accessible, I mean accessible as in web-based, mobile phone-based, don't need a fancy device. And that's just me typing on my phone and it coming into the document.